Hello, everybody in dentistry, dental patients, dental providers, industry partners. Welcome back to the Patient First Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Bryan Laskin, and I'm so excited that you're here where today we're going to be talking about attracting the best team in dentistry and keeping them. But first, this podcast is brought to you by the Insanely Productive Dentist Workshop Series. Over at Upgrade Dental, you can learn how to crush the second half of your career. We have a webinar that's posted right by this podcast where you can learn how to crush the second half of your career in dentistry. I'm just getting started. I don't know about you, but you can learn how to do it by clicking on the link around this presentation, and then also over at upgradedental.com. So today, how do we attract the best team in dentistry? It's really about one thing and one thing only: culture. And I know I can hear the groans. Everybody's talking about culture right now. But here's the thing, people. I believe, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe, and comment. If you disagree with me, or if you think that what I'm saying is off target, I'd love to hear from you. I love hearing comments from everybody. And cracked 500 subscribers on YouTube. We're getting thousands of downloads. And so I just love hearing everybody's comments. But when it comes to culture, there's a lot of misinformation out there. People think about it as the ball pit in the lobby of Zappos, or having lunch together as a team, or going together and seeing a bunch of courses together. Well, that can be part of your culture. However, that's not what I'm talking about. Realistically, when you get down to it, we have a crisis of leadership in dentistry in the world, basically, but it's affecting our practices because it's difficult not just to find exceptional people, but just to find anybody, right? So let's first of all just get past this misinformation of what culture is and get down to the nitty-gritty. What is culture? Well, like I said, it's not going to the escape room. It's not getting together and having lunch every once in a while. That, my friends, is what I would classify as team building. So great activities, wonderful things to do, but that is not culture. That's team building. So what is culture? It's pretty simple, I think. Culture is your people. It's who you have in your organization. It's not what you make up to be something. It is those people that occupy the walls of your office every day, right? If it's your family, it's the people in your house, right? What's the culture there? The people are the culture are the people. It's as simple as that, but it's as complicated as that. So what does that mean? That means if truly your culture is made up of the collection of your people, this is not something that we're aspiring to be. It is who we are. It's who we are as people today, tomorrow, yesterday, and always, right? It's not something you build. It's something when it comes to your office, you select. When it comes to your family, you're kind of stuck with it, right? But to build it, really, you have to know who you are and who you want your team to be, meaning who you are as if it's your practice, if you're the leader of the practice and you don't want to go anywhere, it's pretty good to know who you are, right? So as the saying says, know thyself, so that you can then, at least the best parts of yourself that you want to be ingrained in your culture. And then amplify that by bringing people who also exemplify those cultures, right? Because we want to have a culture of high performance. So that has to be who you are. If you truly want to have a high performance team, it has to be made up of high performance individuals, not that want to be high performance, but honestly, it has to be ingrained in their culture. Now, when people think of culture values, or setting their core values for a company, oftentimes they'll say things like integrity. Now, I would say that's a weak value to have. Why? Because it should be given. If you're working in dentistry, it should be given that you have integrity. If not, that's problematic in all sorts of ways, right? So, other things that can be so generic that it applies to what you would hope every dental practice does. Well, that I would say isn't really strong core values, because you're not saying what you are, you're saying what everybody should be. Now, I personally, when we're setting our core values, like to have less versus more. And the reason why I say like to set that is because I'm part of multiple organizations. Currently, I'm part of about 10 different companies in dentistry that I'm on the leadership team of. So that means that I work across multiple organizations who all have different cultures, because there's different people, not all of them. Some of them have the same people working on them. And the core businesses that I'm part of, Upgrade Dental, Toothapps, are the same. We have the same people working on the same problems that are trying to change the industry in fundamental ways through education, innovation, and standardization, like I've talked about before on this podcast. But so we have the same core values, and I'm going to list them here today, mainly because I think it's important to see kind of the distinction between our core values and what other core values may be. So I like to have 3. Why? Because it's easy to remember 3 things. It's relatively easy to 4 things. It's kind of easy to remember 5 things. And if it's me, it's impossible to listen to remember 6 things. So there's a lot of research behind having 3 to 5 core values being what's memorable. And I like 3 because I like simplicity. I think it's important. To keep things simple so that everybody knows if this is truly who you are, how you're going to promote people, how you're going to demote people, how you're going to select people into your organization and select people out of your organization. Everybody has to know what these are and live by them. So we have 3. Number 1, ours is lead. We go so big that others follow is the definition. Another important thing. Leading can mean a lot of things to different people, but we have our specific definition at Toothapps and Upgrade Dental. Means we lead. We go so big, and big is an acronym for beginning in gratitude, that others follow. So we have a culture here at Toothapps and at Upgrade Dental of gratitude that's embedded in in leading. So we lead through gratitude, and we go so big, which is kind of has a double meaning. Gratitude, and also we think big. We want to change the industry. We don't do small things. We do big things, and we do them so big that other people want to join the cause. That's why we have a podcast. That's why I'm talking at you. And thank you again so much for being part of the Patient First podcast and putting patients first. Big initiative of ours. Accessibility to data is a current big one. So that's core value number 1. Core value number 2 is learn. And the definition of learning at Toothapps and Upgrade Dental is success or learning, meaning you only fail if you fail twice, right? So we don't fail once, we learn. And we celebrate our learning experiences, and we value learning as much as we do success, because in fact, we just had a research study done, and I had 2 groups of research project members who were working on the same problem. And frankly, when they came back, we were trying to quantify a problem, and neither group were able to quantify that problem. And they were both making excuses for why they weren't able to quantify it. And what it came down to is that there wasn't a perceived need by the people that we were asking this question for. So it was hard to quantify. Well, they felt like failures, and absolutely not. Learning that there's not a perceived need for something before you build it is a massive success. We know my team doesn't need to take their very, very significant capabilities to build something that nobody cares about. Nobody cares about in the first place. So the 2 research project leaders felt that they failed. Absolutely not. They completely succeeded. So that's just one example of our second core value, which is learn. Learning is important to us. We do a lot of, I talk about it on the podcast, books applied to dentistry. Learning is part of who we are and what we do as a culture here. And lastly, third is listen. Our goal is to be the best partner in dentistry. So listening, you could put in the bucket of something that should just be, right? Everybody should be a good listener, but let's face it, most people are not. I'd like to think that people in dentistry have integrity. I don't think that people in dentistry, typically in the space that we're in for sure, are good listeners. And we define it by being, we're not a good partner, we are the best partner in dentistry. So for dental practices that listen to our podcast, that read my books, that are part of Toothapps, that are on Upgrade Dental, our goal is to be the best partner. And for software vendors, for all the people all the great companies that we work with, our goal is to not be a good partner, is to be the best partner in dentistry, right? And again, these three things, leading, learning, and listening, the way that we define them, aren't just things that we want to do. This is who we are. And if that's not you, that's great. Go somewhere else that isn't looking to go big so that others follow. Let's go somewhere else where failure is not accepted as learning. Or go somewhere else where their goal isn't to be the best partner in dentistry. Their goal is to just, be average and make the most money or whatever they're looking to do, right? So knowing who you are and defining it in a way that you can select your team both in and out is really how you build culture. And when you have a culture, when you say to people, we go so big that others follow, we believe in learning. So that means that if we don't succeed, we look for learning experiences. We don't view it as failure unless it's happened more than once and we had the wrong intention in the first place. And we are the best partner in dentistry. So if you can't listen and deliver on results to people, that's not where you want to be. And what you do there is you both select for the right people and you select out the wrong people. Hopefully this is helpful and that you can build a culture that is true to you and you can attract the people that are right for your organization and grow, because that's what it's all about. And when you have people who know who they are and have a shared culture of beliefs and values, I believe that is the key to build greatness. So thanks again for showing up, and I look forward to talking with you right here next week on the Patient First Podcast.